Okay, quick update on the North American mini revolver. The last video I had showed you out of the box, had showed the different levels of buildup in the cylinder where it had appeared that it had been shot with shorts, longs, and long rifles straight out of the box before ever loaded the thing, let alone pulled the trigger. Well, I finally pulled the trigger on it. In the last video, I showed you the state of the gun. Also, as you can see here, they attributed that to, well, that's just where it was shipped in the buckle. The buckle as a neodymium magnet that actually holds the gun into the buckle when the safety latch is not engaged. However, oh, and also as far as the buckle, the banner of the buckle, if you will go back and watch the first video, again, that's going to explain a lot, but the banner on the buckle is not even attached to the buckle on the muzzle end. I do not have that with me now, but I will do a little bit longer, more in-depth video when I get back to the house, but this is just a quick one-off. Finally loaded it up, took it down in the basement, and attempted to fire it. So this is straight out of the box. Again, this is a rimfire shell, which means you have to hit the rim to detonate the priming compound. But if you can see this here, just how barely tiny, hopefully this will focus, apologize for the lighting, that is the only mark that the hammer is putting into the rim. That's also not just a single drop of the hammer. That is multiple strikes, not just one, but multiple strikes. And you can see this one. Now that's not just one. This was, I believe, if I remember, this was probably 3 strikes of the hammer on the same spot. Now I do have a couple cases here where I had removed the cylinder. See here. Yeah. And they had gotten slightly turned, but I had removed the cylinder to check the strikes on it. So you can see here, if she'll focus, okay, the strikes aren't in the exact same place. This was, I believe, 4 strikes. And this was 4 or 5 strikes. And as you can see, where the strikes are in different spots, that is where, as I took the cylinder out to check the rims, that the shells had slightly turned before they had been fired. So, as you can see, not much contact. If you look at the firing pin here, or the hammer, okay, as you can see that black mark there, that's not the portion, that is above where the hammer is actually hitting. It's only this very tiny corner, if I can get it in here, just basically where my thumbnail is there, that is the only part that is hitting the rim. Again, this is supposedly brand new out of the box. The reason for the blackening up here, now it almost looks like it had pierced the case, but that's not from a pierced case. That's because the cylinders are so loose on this thing that Well, let me just take it apart here. Let's set this down, set the camera down for a second. And this was fired with only 5 shots. But the gases are blowing back through the cylinder, around the rim, and leaving black mark on the frame. Now, again, 22 long rifle. Not the cleanest things in the world, especially with low-grade ammo. However, this is actually quality Remington ammo I was using. But what's happening is that case, the cylinders are so overboard that the gases are coming back between the case and the cylinder, between the case and the cylinder walls, venting through the back and spraying gas onto the recoil shield, or what would be the recoil shield, but basically the back of the frame. So that's another issue we're having with it. And again, since I have her out here, let me turn the light on. You can see where the firing pin is setting. But that's not even close to hitting the rim. Again, turn that off. That is as much contact as that hammer is making with that rim. I have already contacted North American. They said send it back in. I'm requesting a whole new firearm. Not try to rebuild this one, because as we saw in the first video, I really don't think, and they said that, well, the factory said they do clean the guns after test firing, which I was like, yeah, I don't know if I believe that or not. Most of them don't, but they'd put 5 rounds through it, 1 cylinder full, test fire, ship it out. As you see in the first video, the extent of the firing of it, also the standard paperwork that should have been in the case, the warranty card, other information wasn't even in the box. So I'm claiming it wasn't a new, unused firearm. However, again, you can see right here on that case, plain as day, that is the only, there's a very good view of it, finger out the way, that is the only contact that the firing pin portion of the hammer is hitting the case. It should be down to about there, where my thumbnail is. Now, I'm sending the first 5 fired cases. This was the second 5 fired cases. And again, when I said the gun had been fired extensively before I ever got it, it's not that, well, how could it have been fired extensively? If it won't fire, it will fire eventually. Again, this is multiple strikes. This is a minimum of 3 strikes, not even just 1. So again, this is multiple strikes on this case. The first cylinder, I ran through it. I believe I had to drop the hammer 23 or 24 times. I had to cock and pull the trigger to fire 5 rounds. That's how many strikes it took. But I am including, of course, y'all that own 1022s, it's going to have a line from there to there. Most of your rifles, Marlins, anything like that, there's going to be a very, very pronounced firing pin indent in this thing. I did sending them one of the cases from my Ruger, my single 6, that shows about where my thumbnail is right there, is where the bottom of the firing pin, of course it's a round firing pin, and it still covers that much of the rim. So I sent that, again, sending that, haven't done it yet, which I also, it was an empty that was fired through my single 6. I put the empty in this, dropped the hammer 3 times just as a comparison, so that is included when it gets shipped back come tomorrow. This is Sunday and I can't ship it till tomorrow, but I did get the shipping label already printed out for it. So anyway, that is where we are at on the NAA Mini. I will be doing another video tomorrow before I ship it back, showing the buckle and some of the other problems, and the fact that there's nothing in the box or case as far as paperwork. And we'll be going from there.